Okay, in this video I'm going to talk about the history of iOS features. So first of all, I hope there's no watermark. Everyone has been begging me to download iMovie. I think people are tired of the watermark. I tried iMovie and it just zoomed in on the image and it was going up and down. It would be good for I don't know, a trip portfolio, but a YouTube video, no. So I'm trying a different video editor. Before I used Filmmaker Pro. It was super easy to use. So now I'm using the CapCut video editor. So on June 29th, the original iPhone is going to turn 14 years old. It was introduced on January 9th, 2007, and it was launched on June 29th, 2007. So I'm going to talk about the features of iOS throughout the years, iOS 1 to iOS 15. Okay, let's get into it. So first, my information sources are the Macworld 2007 keynote, to search into YouTube original iPhone introduction, WWDC 2008 to WWDC 2021. So the first feature was we had a music player that was introduced in iOS 1. We had the ability to play videos widescreen, which was introduced in iOS 1. We had a phone messages app that was introduced in iOS 1. We had the ability to connect to Wi-Fi, introduced in 2001. These things were revolutionary for the time because we had these crappy plasticky not even iPhones. They're just these really crappy smartphones. They had little keyboards on the bottom of them. Good luck finding one with a front camera. So the iPhone was revolutionary. It had a Photos app, ability to connect to Bluetooth. It had a calendar, an email app, a Safari app, a Maps app, a camera app, a stocks app, a weather app, a clock app, a calculator app, a notes app, a settings app, an iTunes app, which was introduced in iOS 1.1. It wasn't available for the original release of iOS 1. Okay, so we're on iOS 2. It was launched at WWDC 2008, along with the iPhone 3G. It was available for download on July 11th, 2008. So we had the ability to search for contacts in the Contacts app. We had iWork on iPhone. You could just mail them to yourself and view them. Same thing with Microsoft 360. Microsoft is around you 360 degrees. We had bulk delete and mail. You could just select a bunch of emails and delete them. That's crazy to think that was revolutionary. We had the ability to save images in the Mail app. You could just select an image someone sent you and save that to your Photos app. We had a scientific calculator. You'd just rotate your iPhone to landscape view and you'd have a scientific calculator. Parental controls. More language support. We had an app store, which was just groundbreaking. Before we had these web apps, you'd have to load them through your Safari browser and you'd bookmark them to your home screen. I did do a video, I think on April 17th or something. I'll include that in the description. We had enterprise support, which allows employers to give their employees iDevices. So you set it up so you have apps they want you to use, contacts you need, signs into your mail. It just adds any information you need to do your job. So that was all fun and games. But in 2009, we had cut, copy, and paste with iOS 3, so we're going to get into iOS 3. It was launched on June 17th, 2009. We had Shake to Undo that was introduced in iOS 3. Landscape keyboard and more applications. Like in all applications, you couldn't use a landscape keyboard. We had MMS, show more things via messages, required carrier support. We also had the ability to plug your phone into your computer and use it as a hotspot if you didn't have Wi-Fi. You also needed carrier support. We had Spotlight Search, where basically you could just swipe through it and you could search for any content on your phone. I use that every day, literally, to find applications. We had the ability to rent and purchase videos and audiobooks, because before you could only do songs with iTunes Store on the iPhone. We had iTunes U support, which is the iTunes platform where you can get education. That's actually going away at the end of the year. I'm assuming because they've built all that into iTunes, the iTunes Store. We also had better parental controls, more features. I think you could filter out higher age-rated apps and everything. I mentioned that. I have a piece of paper ahead of me that I'm just reading all this crap off of. We had autofill, where basically it would save your username and password. And then if you needed to sign into a website, you could do that. It would also save personal information about you. And being Apple, this was very secure. We had Find My iPhone. It required the Stone Age platform MobileMe, which you had to pay for, but now it's available to anyone with an Apple ID, so it's now free. We had in-app purchases, which was just a terrible feature. Free apps could not be free to use. You could download them for free, and then you'd have to pay for them. It was just a giant scam. If you really wanted to use it, it'd scam people into just buying it. I wrote that in my paper, bad feature. Originally at release, it was only available for paid apps, which was even worse. So you would pay for a freaking app. And then you'd have to pay even more if you wanted to buy coins or whatever on it. Or whatever it wanted you to buy. Okay, I have to flip my page. We had peer-to-peer gameplay, which would allow multiplayer with apps. We had the ability to use third-party accessories. So you could buy third-party accessories and then hook them up to your iPhone. Just via the 30-pin port, now the Lightning port, or through Bluetooth. And now we're on iOS 4. iOS 4 was introduced on June 21st, 2010. We're going to talk about the features it had. It had multitasking. You would double-click the home button and see the apps. You had open. This was just a revolutionary feature. I use it every day. I'm sure many millions and billions, trillions of people use it every day. So you could just see any app you had open. We had folders. You could sort apps into folders. They were adding such basic features because they didn't have too many features back then. Okay, I lost my spot on my page. Okay. Multiple email account support, and then you could just filter all of your email accounts with all your mail into one inbox. We had fast inbox switching. You could easily just switch to your other email account. We had open attachments from third-party apps. We had iBooks, and something Steve Jobs said, you get a free Winnie the Pooh. That was the free book. I guess a classic book I loved as a kid. Actually, I have to plug in my iPad. Sorry. Okay, plugged in my iPad. Hopefully it's charging. Where was it? You had better exchange support. You had Game Center. you had iAd for developers. They could build in ads into their apps. We had home screen wallpaper. You can now set a wallpaper on your home screen. Before, it was just a black wallpaper. It sucked. Actually, I'm not the only person who likes that. I'm the type of person who always uses the default wallpaper. We had orientation lock. If you're ever laying in bed and you're watching a YouTube video and it just rotates and you don't want it to, you can turn on orientation lock. We had FaceTime. It required the iPhone 4 because they had the new front-facing camera. We had the notification sent. Oh, okay. Now we're on iOS 5. iOS 5 was released sometime in October of 2011. I don't know the exact date. We had notification center. Group all your notifications. Well, I won't group them or just put them in chronological order. We had now had that. It was just really unorganized. They fixed that in like iOS 12 with group notifications. We had newsstand. It would group any, like, from apps you could download, like books or magazines or whatever, and it would put them in newsstand. They ended up killing that off in iOS 9, and it no longer works because they added the news app. So if you're a magazine publisher, a news publisher, or a book publisher, you'd put it in the news app. We had Twitter integration. It was in the settings app. You could download it from there, sign in from the settings app, and a lot of things were integrated with Twitter, so you could share everything. We had Safari Reader View. Just get rid of the ads, get rid of the background color, just standard black text. I did a My Phone how-to about this. That's actually why I wrote all these down, so I know what to do in My Phone how-to. We had reading list. You could select you could select things you wanted to read in the future, and it would in iOS 6 they introduced the feature offline, so it would save everything in your reading list, so you could read it even if you did not have an internet connection, which is a really, really good thing. Now I have to find my Spider-Man. We had tab browsing on iPad. We had Safari tabs on the iPad. We had the Reminders app. It's crazy to think we didn't have that before. And my mom says they should even integrate it with the calendar app. We had camera shortcut on the lock screen. You would just swipe up and be in your camera. We had a volume up to take a photo. You just press your volume up button to take a picture. We had photo editing. You could edit a photo without iPhoto, which they later killed off in 2015. Maybe they were planning to kill off iPhoto and they just needed to give time to integrate the features of iPhoto into other things. We had mail enhancements, better mail. I didn't feel like writing down every single thing they did in mail. They're always having enhancements for things. We had keyboard enhancements. We had computer-free setup because people wanted to just buy an iDevice and have that as their only device, and they didn't have a computer, so they'd have to take it back to the Apple Store to have them set it up through the computer. We also had over-the-air software updates. You didn't have to plug it into your computer to update it. We had improvements to Game Center. We also had iMessage. It does not require your phone number. It does not require any fees, just your Apple ID. And to message someone else, they have to have their Apple ID associated with iMessage. So you could do this you can message through your Mac, iPad, iPhone, iPod Touch. we had iCloud. You did have to have a premium subscription. This replaced Mobile Me, which they killed off the next year. We had Siri. It was exclusive to the iPhone 4S and iOS 5. Better Siri on iOS 6. iOS 6 was launched on September 19, 2012. So Siri was better. We had Siri on iPad. That was also exclusive to the latest iPad, the iPad 3, because when the iPad 3 came out in March 2012 with iOS 5, it did not come with Siri until they realized it was stupid and added that feature. We had Facebook integration, same thing as Twitter integration. We had Remind Me Later in calls. You could just click Remind Me Later and reminds you later to call the person back. Do Not Disturb. It was good. You can just turn on Do Not Disturb. It does not give you any notifications. No notifications. So if you're tired about eBay telling you have an extra $5 and it's conditionally, you can turn on Do Not Disturb. But if a person calls back 3 times, like it's an emergency, or if they're just a pain, and they want to call you and they feel like talking to you right then and there, it'll come through. We had FaceTime over cellular. You could do FaceTime over your cell service, because before this you cannot do that, which is stupid. We had iCloud tabs. So you could, any tabs you had open on other devices, you could open them on other devices. We had an offline reading list introduced iOS 6. We had banners for apps on websites. So if you went to a website and they happen to have an app, it'll just give you an indicator like open or download or anything. We had shared photo streams. You could share with other people on iCloud and other devices. We had mail enhancements. They always have mail enhancements. I have to turn to the next page. We had Passbook. It holds cards and stuff like that, boarding passes, moving tickets. It was renamed to Wallet in iOS 9 and they killed it off. It was dead as the dodo bird. Well, it still exists in the Wallet app, just like they killed off Newsstand. My email won't shut up. I lost my spot again. We had single app mode, whatever that is. We had Apple Maps. This was so glitchy. Apple Maps did not work at all. Good luck ever using it. But they later fixed it, of course. They had map incidents reports. So someone could report incidents like construction accidents. We had turn-by-turn directions. It would just show you an animation of how to turn. We had Siri integration and maps. You could have Siri in your maps. We had flyover live view of buildings. So it was like live from satellites and then show you anything you wanted to. The Sydney Opera House, Easter Island, whatever the other 7 wonders of the world are, or just anything if you want to know what your local office building looks like. Oh great, I lost my spot again. Okay. So now we had iOS 7. It was released on September 18th, 2013. I do not remember this at all. I was in my first year of preschool, like my first month of preschool. We had so these were just huge. it was a huge redesign. People hated it, The riots, no, I'm just kidding. There were no riots in the streets over the redesign. But people are switching to Android. They hated it so much. We had Control Center would just show you your controls, rotation lock, do not disturb, anything. We had Notification Center on the home screen. You could access your notifications on the home screen. I have to find my spot again. We had better multitasking. It would just show you what you were doing in the app. So it's true multitasking. Because you could see what you were doing in each app. We had a new camera app. It had square mode. It had panoramic. It was found in iOS 6. We just had new options for the camera. We had slow-mo, which was exclusive to the iPhone 5S because it had a super fast A7 64-bit processor. So it was exclusive to the iPhone 5S or any other A7 chip or later device. We had a new Photos app with chronologically organized photos. We had Near Me in App Store, like if you were at a museum or your Starbucks. You could see your local apps. If you're just at home, you can do that and see your local news app. We had AirDrop, which allows you to AirDrop things like a photo or video from one device to another device. We had a Safari redesign. We had better Siri. They always have better Siri. New Siri voices. I believe they had male and female voices. They had iTunes Radio. I don't think that lasted too long. We had interactive notifications. Oh, wait, we're on iOS 8. iOS 8 was launched on September 17th, 2014. We had interactive notifications. You could just swipe it away, click on it to view. That was great. We had access to recent contacts in Safari. No, wrong thing. In multitasking, they got rid of this. If you double tap to go to multitasking, you just see your apps, which is totally stupid. With iOS 8, you would see your recent used contacts. So in a way, you could say these iPhone 4Ss were better than your iPhone 11 or whatever. We had a bird's eye view on tabs in Safari. You could just click the box icon, just the two squares, and you could see all your tabs in Safari on your iPad. We had sidebar in Safari and iPad. You could see your reading list and everything. It's kind of annoying. You have to click the book button to get it to go away. We had gestures in the Mail app. We had better Spotlight search. We had Quick Type. So it gives you suggestions and learns how you type. We had other devices pick up where you left off, which was we had better messages. They always have better messages app now. We have the ability to send voice recordings and messages. Actually, at the introduction, they had Craig Federighi, the comedian. He was having hair issues. He's known for his hair. He's even known on Game Center as Hair Force 1. We had better enterprise. We had the new health app. You could view stuff about your health. it could track your steps, so your pedometer. You could also use third-party hardware, specifically in the health app. We had family sharing. You can share things through your family, like apps you paid for. I'm sure developers love this. Instead of having 4 people buy the app, they now had one person buying the app and 4 people using it. We had the my phone's going off again. Oh my god. I lost my spot again because my phone can't shut up about Twitter. So it's we had a Better Photos app. They're always making something better. I guess that's good. Better Siri suggests caller ID. Your phone tries to recognize who it is. So it's introduced in iOS 9. iOS 9 was launched in September 2015. I don't know the date for that either. We had Better Spotlight Search. We had suggested apps and intelligence. Your phone would learn how you act. Apple News app. This is when they called off Newsstand. Dead as a dodo bird. By the way, when I did this, I had to watch every single WWDC. I thought I'd like it, but it got so boring after a while. I was really getting tired of it. We had better Apple Pay. We had 3D Touch support. That was introduced in the iPhone 6s. Your phone would react to how hard you were pressing the display. We had Ways to Wake, which was introduced in iOS 10, which was introduced in September 2016. Sorry, I don't know the date for that either. Sorry, I can't waste my brain storage remembering all these useless dates, even though I can do that a lot. My hand is falling asleep after I am holding this record button. We had better notifications that were integrated with 3D Touch. You could just hold on one and literally respond to the message. I have to turn my page. We had 3D Touch on a message and respond and hold there. Required the iPhone 6s and 3D Touch. Redesigned Control Center. They actually redesigned it the next year, so it's kind of pointless, but the next one was really good. Had screen recording. I could say screen recording changed my life because I screen record a bunch of YouTube videos. Once again, I lost it. Lost my spot. The Control Center also had music in it. We had slides to the left to view widgets on the home screen. This is called Today View. We had a new camera shortcut. Instead of swiping up, you would swipe to the left. I don't know how that was better. We had press home to unlock too. They changed it from slide to unlock to press home to unlock. We had better 3D Touch, of course. Acquired the iPhone 6s with the 3D Touch. We had better Siri, better QuickType, object and scene recognition with iOS 10. We had memories, it just compiles photos and videos into a memory like a vacation or your year or something. If I can find it. Once again, for the 100th millionth time, I lost my spot. We had redesigned maps for you and Apple Music and browse and radio tabs are brought back to radio. They had redesigned Apple News, introduced iOS 10, subscriptions in Apple News sucks. They had breaking news notifications. So if you're having a good Friday or something, you just hear about some tragic breaking news. So that's when the Do Not Disturb comes in handy. We had a redesigned HomeKit so you could set up a smart home. I hope you have fun when your phone battery dies and it won't charge. And your lights are off. They had voicemail transcription, so it would just listen to your voicemail and turn it into words so you could read it. Redesigned. We had better interface for third-party calling apps. We had emoji predictions and messages. We had bubble effects in messages. We had full screen effects in messages. Notes collaboration, split screen Safari view on iPad and Safari. We had a redesigned app drawer in messages, so you can see apps you use in messages. Like in Headspace, for example, you can send deep breathing or something. They had delete a message in messages. They had person-to-person payments in messages. Oh wait, I'm reading the iOS 11 features. iOS 11 was launched in September 2017. They had new Siri voices. They had better Siri. They had new file types for photos. They had improvements to memories. Improvements for live photos. That was exclusive to iPhone 6s, iPhone 7, and any later iPhones. They had a Control Center redesign with the screen recording and everything. They had driving directions improvements. They had Do Not Disturb while driving. They had speaker support and HomeKit. So you could set up speakers and play music through them with the Home app. Friends are listening. You can view stuff your friends are listening to. They obviously have to be in your contacts and be sharing that. They had an App Store redesign. They had a faster experience, which was introduced in iOS 12, which was launched in September 2018, and it supported the iPhone 5S. And the 2013 device is still launched in 2018. That's crazy. They had the new ability to view AR, like 3D objects. And you could even view that, like images from the internet. You could view these. And I think you could even say that they had the AR Measure app. So you can move your phone along an object and it'll measure it. You can measure the area and perimeter and everything, all that good stuff. They had the ability to search for photos. They had featured photos with the Photos app. I have to turn my page again. They had suggested effects with photos, introduced iOS 12. They had sharing suggestions in photos. They had share album activity in photos. It's suggested for the other person to share photos from that event. They had Siri shortcuts. They had the Shortcuts app. They had the sidebar and Apple News on iPad. They had redesigned Stocks app. They had Apple News and Stocks. They had news, stories, and stocks. So if you want to check how well Google stocks or Apple stocks are doing, you can now know news about them. Those signals have tanked. Good to know. They have stocks on iPad. Please just hurry up and add a calculator app to the iPad, though. You had to do stocks. I can guarantee you who never uses them. But I want my calculator on my iPad. They had redesigned voice memos. They had voice memos on iPad, iCloud voice memos, iBooks redesigned and renamed to Apple Books, third-party navigation app support, so you could use that as your default. They had Do Not Disturb during bedtime. So if you're sleeping, it does not give you notifications. Let's find this. They had set and ending time for Do Not Disturb. They had grouped notifications, which was introduced in iOS 12. They had screen time observes. It observes your screen time. Introduced iOS 12. They had app limits. They had tongue detection and Animoji. They had new Animojis. They had Memoji and Animoji view. They had group FaceTime. I believe they had to end up retracting this and then releasing it because there was a security bug where even after you left the call, someone could still access your iPhone. So there wasn't like any time to fix it. So they had to retract the feature from working, and then they released it so you could use it. They had faster Face ID, which was introduced in iOS 13. iOS 13 was introduced in September 2019. They had faster Face ID, 50% smaller apps, 60% smaller app updates. So for all of you on your 16GB iPhones, that's good news for you. They had 2 times faster app launching. They had dark mode, so instead of that glaring white, you know how this black they had time-sync lyrics in Apple Music. You had to have a paid subscription for Apple Music. They had swipe keyboard. You could swipe a word and recognize it. Never can recognize it for me. They had settings for text and Safari. They had text formatting controls, whatever the heck that is. It had gallery view and notes. They had redesigned reminders. They had a redesigned map. They had sign in with Apple, so you didn't have to use your email address. They had allow apps to track, organizing integrated. I don't know if that's right or grammarly screwed it up. Siri announces messages with AirPods. And third-party app messages. They had audio sharing via AirPods to any other device. They had handoff from device to HomePod handoff as well. Like if you're playing music on something, then you can finish playing your music on something else. I have to turn my page again. They had live radio, introduced iOS 13. They had identification of a person on HomePod. So if a whole family was sharing a HomePod, one person could use it. They had CarPlay dashboard, integrated shortcuts app, better Siri voice. It was 100% machine created because before Siri used bits of human voice clips, and it didn't sound too good sometimes. So they had that. They had iPad OS designed for iPads only. I didn't do that because I didn't feel like writing down all the features of iPad OS, and 2, this is iPhones. They had Now, iOS 14. iOS 14 was launched on September 16th, 2020. I actually remember the date for this one. They had move and hide home screens. You went the new app library and everything. You could delete home screens and apps would now be in your app library. They had app library. They had home screen widgets. I remember watching the introduction video and I was freaking out about this feature. I have to find this. They had picture-in-picture video. They had a Siri redesign. They had better Siri. The Translate app. They had Memoji improvements. Like Memoji, you could just use it on any device without the True Depth camera system. They had pin conversations and messages, so you could pin a conversation to the top of your messages. They had better maps and CarPlay, new wallpaper options for CarPlay, digital car keys, app clips, iPad OS 14, now we're on iOS 15. iOS 15 will be available in September. It's currently not available now. They had better FaceTime sound quality, introduced iOS 15. They had noise blocking in FaceTime. They had FaceTime group calling grid view. They had a landscape mode. They had FaceTime links, just generate a link. That was introduced in iOS 15. They had FaceTime events and calendar. Android and Windows can use FaceTime Share Play, listen, watch, and stream on FaceTime. They had listen, watch, and stream on FaceTime. Introduced iOS 15. Shared playlist in Apple Music. Better FaceTime control. They had shared with you in the Photos app, pinned something in Messages, notification summary, status of Do Not Disturb in Messages. So if someone has Do Not Disturb on, the other people can see it. They had focus on one thing and turn off notifications. They had better widgets. Text detection, photos added to Spotlight. You can search for a photo, like something in the photo. They had overview memories. They had add your own music to memories. They had add keys to the Wallet app, introduced iOS 15. And they had IDs in Wallet. They had redesigned weather, elevation, and maps, 3D view and maps. And then iPad OS 15. Okay, that's the end of this video. Please like, comment, subscribe for more.